In this video, let's create a file server which could be used for different purposes. So instead of installing Windows 2012 from scratch, let's take a slightly different approach. In this, I'll show you how to export an existing VM and importing it as a different name so that it can be another VM in our lab. So we already have our DC, which is based on Windows 2012. So right click on that and click export, and it will ask for you the location to save the files. So let's create a subdirectory in here. And select the folder and click export. So you can see that it's exporting. This is the fastest way to repurpose and create more VMs in your lab. So you can do the same for your Windows 7, Windows 10. You can create as many as you need. So your lab will have like one domain controller with like 10 different clients. So it is done exporting. So let's see the files it created. So if you go to the exports directory, it created a folder called DC, and you see the various files. So now let's see how to import this to create a brand new VM. So you can go to this import virtual machine and follow the wizard. So click next. So you need to select the directory where the exported files are. So it's in CVMs exports DC. Just select the base directory and click next. And it's confirming that you want to import this domain controller. Click next. So this is an important step. Since we are using this as a brand new machine, you want to create a unique ID for this. So let's check this one and click next. So let's also store these files in a different location. So let's go to C, VMs, and then this is called file server, VMs, and then let's create a new folder called file server and select the folder. And let's also change this to file server. Same thing for the paging. Okay, looks good. And also let's go to this browse, go to C, VM. Let's store the hard disk under the file server directory. Select the folder, click next. So it summarizes all the changes we made. So click finish. So it is copying all the files and it is creating a brand new machine. But once this is done, we do not have to install the operating system again. And this is how we can create any number of VMs once you have the base lab. So the import is complete, but it used the same name for the VM. So let's fix that. So these names can be changed at any time. So just right click on it and say rename. Let's call it server 1. And then click on it and connect to the VM. So it will be the same password which you used for the domain controller. So, I mean, this is an interesting concept, and it's the power of using virtual machines. And very quickly, you can create any number of servers using this technique. So let's do one more thing before we proceed. So let's check the host name. And it's again using a cryptic name, and we want something which we can easily remember. So let's try to change the host name. So in order to change the name of the server on a Windows 2012 server, it's pretty simple. Just click on this server manager, go to this local server, and you will see a computer name, which is the same name which we saw in the command line. Click on it. It says to rename this computer, click this. So let's use server 1. So as and when you change a computer name, you have to restart. So let's go and restart this machine. So the server name has changed successfully. So we have 4 VMs running right now. So I forgot to check one thing. I don't remember if I changed the name of this DC. So let's go check that before we proceed. I don't think I did. So let's fix that. And you know the process to do that. So click on the server manager, click on local server, computer name, and change. So let's call it DC. So the reason we change these computer names is we can easily remember. And when we do different tasks, it'll be easy to go with the mission name. Okay, now we have the name changed to DC. So we have successfully configured and installed 4 different machines. So if you need more clients, please export these Windows 7, Windows 10 and re-import like we did before. So the next tutorial, we will see how to install pfSense. It gets really interesting after this. So pfSense is a software-based firewall, and we can do a lot of fun things with it. But for our lab, we will use it to separate between our host system and the lab systems. So even if you have a virus or any kind of malware in these virtual machines, it will not infect our host machine. So it will also give you a chance to learn about firewall techniques, how firewall works in real life. So let's proceed with that in the next session.